What's up, guys? What I have here is a scope that I received from a company that sells on Amazon, Spike Optical, and they offered me a scope if I would do a review for them, and I got to pick whatever I wanted that they had, and I got this it's a 2 to 7 power. Get everything out here. It came with bases. I'll include a link to their Amazon page in the description. It's a 2 to 7 by 32. It's got lens caps and came with a base and rings, and it's got turrets. Also, you can put a battery in here, and you have red, blue, and green reticle. It's got a mil dot reticle, and going to be putting this scope on this rifle over here, the Savage FVSR-22. It's threaded barrel 22 long rifle. It's got the Accu-Trigger. I've had this rifle for about a year now, and had a center point scope on it, and I'm going to put this guy on here and see how well it works. So far, what I noticed is on the box it says fully coated optics, fast focus eyepiece, 100% fog proof and shock proof, dry nitrogen field, windage and elevation adjustments with 1/4 minute of angle, audible click stops, and fingertip turrets. This is 1/2 minute of angle adjustment. That's one contradiction I found. Other than that, I've not found any problems with it yet. The clarity is pretty good, and for the rifle that I'm putting it on, 7 power is plenty enough, and you can hear the clicks. They're not super audible, but they are audible. So they're not lying there. And if you've got a really small screwdriver here, you can take this turret off after you get zeroed and mark your zero. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mount this thing on the rifle over here, and then I'm going to take it out shooting. So we'll get to that. Okay, so now I've got the scope on and it's tight, and believe it or not, the scope and the base were level. They were mounted together from the factory, and I've got a little level there underneath the base on the rifle. So if I take that level and move it to one of the Picatinny rails that's on the rings, I'm level, and then when I move it to the top of the turret, I'm level. So my crosshairs and my bore are level. So now all I got to do, I got to put a battery in it, and I got to get a zero. I'm going to bore sight. I'm going to look through the bore of the rifle and bring my crosshairs to that point, and then we'll shoot it into zero out at the range. Okay, so I've got it all mounted up, and I've got the batteries working. This is the blue reticle. It's red. Got 3 settings for each one. It's the low on green, 2, 3, low blue, medium, high. Like I said, this scope has a pretty clear sight picture. My initial zero went pretty well, and so far so good. Next is shooting, and we'll see how well we return to zero in that part. Alright, got a final zero, was zeroed in 5 shots. I had to come up roughly 10 minutes of angle. I was on paper or steel in my case, and now we're going to shoot a 5-shot group. I'm going to change the elevation and just shoot a few shots there, and then I'm going to return and see if it returns to zero. We'll walk up and look at the groups. So we're at 50 yards here, and going to shoot the far right piece of steel up there. Alright, so I'm going to shoot the far right piece of steel. Well, I'm going to shoot the piece of steel that's just under the one that I just shot at, and I'm going to go up 10 minutes. So I'll be holding right on the bottom of this piece of steel. Okay, so 14. Okay, so I'm up 10 minutes of angle. Well, I'm not going to be able to shoot the one below it because it's not in line, so I'm going to shoot the one directly next to it, and I should be on steel. Should be able to group. Okay, holding right at the bottom here. Yep. Seems to be correct on its tracking. That's roughly 5 inches high. I went up 10 MOA, so that's about right for 50 yards. Locked in. Still getting used to this little rifle. Holding on the bottom edge. Alright, so now I'm going to go back down 10 minutes and see if my zero is the same. Get over here and get me some ammo. So my zero should be
exactly at the point of aim. So here we go. I'm shooting the far right piece of steel just below the first group. Alright, and it returned to 0. Okay, so my thoughts. I like it. I like the little scope. It's $79, I think it was, and you get a lot for that money. It's really clear. It seems to track, and I like it. We're going to walk up here and look at the groups, and I'll explain again what I was doing. This was the first group. This is 50 yards, 5 shots. That was initial 0. I was holding down here after going up 10 minutes of angle. That's that group. And then I returned back to my original 0, and this is the group here. Pretty impressive, really, for a, you know, a less expensive scope. And on a 22, you can't go wrong. These are some of the groups. That was one of the better groups. This was my, down here was my first shot. This was my first shot. I was aiming here. I had to come up to this point of aim. This was my second shot. I had to adjust just a little bit, and then third shot I was at point of aim, and I made this group and then this group. So that's the Spike little 2 to 7 by 32. Thank you guys for watching.